I've just been going to sleep with fucking videos about Joe Rogan's friends lately, so I do have a very embarrassing recommended here. But yeah, that was Sylvester's "You Make Me Feel," Mighty Real. Um, and let's see if I can. Came here early to get ahead of the technical issues. How's the lighting? Very nice. All right, so this was Sylvester, and some interesting, probably the most interesting thing about Sylvester is that we have seen a large number of artists who either are part of or are marketing to the gay community. We've seen, the Village People as an example, and Sylvester is different because unlike the Village People and unlike so many other disco singers, he is actually openly gay, publicly openly gay, which was quite a big deal back then. And in fact, I've heard some sources say that he is the only openly gay disco artist of the period, but I think Dennis Parker might get the first place medallion there because you do actually get to see him have gay sex in his movies.
Divine 2 was openly gay and a disco artist.
That's true, but I guess she didn't start till the '80s, so he did beat her. He would have at least had the title for a while. Look at me misgendering Divine. I'm breaking my own rule, but him. And he released 2 albums in the late '70s, Sylvester and Step 2. Would recommend both of them. But the interesting thing about him is that if you have a glance at any of his biological information, he did actually have a lot of very traumatic formative experiences in his younger life. But when he was asked about his childhood in interviews, his response was, "Oh God, don't ask me how I got started or how old I am or about the Cockettes. Let's just say that I came from an upper middle class black bourgeois family in Los Angeles, and then I left a boring 9-to-5 job to move to San Francisco. Better yet, let's say I was the first test tube baby." So he comes across as perhaps the opposite of the American Idol paradigm, who is less interested in telling you his tragic backstory and more interested in performing for you. And he was he had a lot of friends. He was in the Cockettes, a black drag avant-garde troupe. And he was friends with Harvey Milk as well. So there's one confirmed degree of separation from Wakefield Poole, today's director. And perhaps most interestingly of all, I mentioned 2 Tons of Fun before. That was the original or the more commonly used name for the 2 women, Martha Walsh and Isabella Rhodes, who went on to be the Weather Girls for It's Raining Men. I wanted to show their collaboration as well. Where is my cursor? There it is.
Sylvester James, the flamboyant king and queen of disco, mixed the fervor of gospel songs he'd grown up with the rhythms of modern dance music.
People have got perfect pitch, perfect rhythm, are fearless to put it down, and move you, and dance you, and spank you, and sweat you. You gotta love it. It don't get no better.
Backed by a pair of singers he dubbed 2 Tons of Fun, Sylvester hit the stage with an irresistible club mover titled Dance Disco Heat.
Dance Disco Heat. It's fun. It's fun. And especially when we did it live.
One commentator pointed out part of the appeal of the trio, Sylvester and the two women who, according to this video, he himself named 2 Tons of Fun. Part of the appeal was that Sylvester, who was allegedly beginning to eat more and look a bit rounder by this point, would look back like his younger self, right in between them. And they have like a very beautiful triple harmony kind of going on there. And if you want to hear some very impressive note hitting, I'd recommend you keep watching that on your own time. But fortunately I have to carry on because I have another video of Sylvester I want to show you, which was his collaboration with Patrick Cowley, who's going to come up later. Patrick Cowley being another gay disco / electronic artist who collaborated with him to make this song, Do You Want Funk? Why am I on the show? That was a good episode though, would recommend. You can notice the very different flavor of it already. It's got a much more electric sound. And if you ever delve into Patrick Cowley's solo work, which I would recommend, he is almost as criminally underrated as all of the directors that we've gone over so far in this course. And there's just one really nice bit here in the intro I'll get to, and I know we're already 10 minutes in. And there were much longer intros than there really needed to be, because these were songs meant to be danced to, so, you know. If you're ever listening to a disco song and wondering why it's 6 minutes, that's why. And what I really like about the verses is that it, like, in the music itself, you can almost like hear the tension that kind of resolved once he asks the critical question on everyone's mind: do you want funk? Which is also the theme of the movie Take One, which would be a beautiful transition, but I actually do want to meander even longer. Because, you know, I've talked a lot about how gay identity and homoerotic sex are different, and while they are mutually inclusive, there are, you know, a lot of people who have gay sex who would not consider themselves gay, and this is particularly relevant to current events. Those of you who saw the recent Epstein emails, ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba, who most people believe to be Bill Clinton. So I just have, you know, I think this is a great example because, you know, not many of you, I don't know, probably have heard of this, but I don't know, you two seem to have the corner on some weird random facts. So I don't know, we'll see, but. Can anyone name the other straight president who received head in American history? That one actually might be right.
LBJ.
A head from a man. Sorry, I forgot to finish. Yeah.
I think most
we
of them
we could argue Van Buren because he might have been a gay president.
Well,
Buchanan, that's what I meant to say.
the only one that I know for sure we have primary source evidence for is John F. Kennedy, who after some remonstrances to let his gay friend, do a little mutually beneficial favor under the table, and allegedly that went on into his presidency. And the whole thing with the elites and sex, for those of you perhaps trying to make sense of the strange Epstein stuff going on, I would recommend you watch Al Pacino's Serpico, because this is another great 70s Al Pacino movie. Same director as Dog Day Afternoon, so it is still kind of connected to this course. But this is a movie about an honest cop who shows how cops for years have been, bonding over the fact that they're all participating in this illegal activity together of taking money. Maybe the sex that these billionaires are having is more in line with the, Myra Breckinridge style of sex being power than anything physical or emotional.
It's funny you mentioned that. I just watched Cruising yesterday.
You just watched Cruising yesterday?
Yeah.
That was before that was the finale movie, which, same director as The Exorcist. That's kind of weird. But after he dropped Sorcerer, so once his career was kind of in decline. What did you think of that?
It was really, it had a lot of, things that were kind of poorly done, but that was made up for by seeing Al Pacino pretend to be like a gay cop and like going around cruising and also what was up with that one like Dom guy who the police come in at one point, just that like giant guy who like slaps Al Pacino and then leaves.
So there's actually spoilers. There's actually a theory about that, which is that there was an urban legend back then where, because it was illegal for police to do torture, they would have situations that were so absurd under which the torture happened that if someone tried to tell the public about it, they would be like, that did not happen. So the idea was that having a huge burly black cowboy who's mostly naked slap you in the face and then leave, nobody's going to be like, oh, that's crazy, we need to do an investigation. Everyone's going to be like, get off the drugs. But yeah, I'm not sure if that, I imagine that's not true, but I really wish it was. But yeah. Very interesting movie though. I did end up replacing it with a movie that's objectively better. But I'm glad that somebody got to watch it. And also it goes into Hanky Code, which I haven't gone into so far, but maybe I'll dedicate a bit in an upcoming class. But
water sports.
we've already talked enough about water sports, I think. But no, that's another thing. Sorry everybody, but I don't understand why, after having explained to him what everything means, he then wears the "want to get pissed on" bandana and is surprised when someone's like, "Do you want?" Because like I've had people ask me, "Do you want to get pissed on?" and it's been weird because I haven't had a bandana on. But when you do have the bandana on, it's really your fault.
It's just a yellow bandana.
The yellow bandana. Yeah. So
Is this like a common knowledge?
it's it kind of fell out of favor, but there were the side that you have the hanky. I guess I'll go into it now. But the side that you have your handkerchief on, which ass pocket it's in, is to communicate whether you're active or passive, and the color of the handkerchief is the activity. So it would be like green for hustlers, like gay prostitutes, red, fisting, which is very popular back then. And indeed, I'm really sorry, everybody. Indeed, the place that Cruising takes place, or is supposed to take place, the mine shaft, is, they didn't let them film in there because they thought the movie was derogatory towards gay people. But that was called the fisting capital of America. So, all right, that's enough about Cruising. I won't let you be subverting any more of my classes. Yes, we actually watched these last two movies in the wrong order. My apologies. It would have made much more logical sense to have watched the movie that came out in 1977 and is more thematically connected to everything we've watched, before the movie that came out in 1978. But nevertheless, I'm glad we watched them together because they are very connected. These are both movies that have a lot to say about the nature of cinema. And if you'll remember from our discussion of Night of the Adonis, this is a film that is basically ridiculing its own medium as this distraction from a vibrant and a free erotic life represented by the ever-growing bathroom orgy. And Take One has a very different opinion on what gay films or gay porno films are and can be. As the subheader there explains, this is a docu-fantasy, a new genre, and it really is unlike any other movie that we've watched. So you were the only one to watch it in full, I believe. Did you get a chance to watch it yet, or I know? So you're our resident Take One. Nobody got a chance to do the reading, did they?
I didn't know there was a reading.
Did I not? I thought I posted that, but
I
okay. Wow.
didn't watch it.
So what? So somebody in this room is lazy, but we gotta figure out who it is. In any event, do you wanna maybe say what you thought about the movie or its thesis before I spoil it with mine?
I mean, it was weird. It was a little long,
Was
in my
weird.
opinion, but it was like a documentary of the making of the movie itself, sort of like
Yeah.
a mockumentary.
Yeah, it is hard to understand, and as a matter of fact, it starts off with this disclaimer: for your enjoyment, do not try to understand this film. There's nothing to understand. It is only real people doing real, R-E-A-L, R-E-E-L, things and making them real, R-E-A-L, together. Night of the Adonis, as you'll recall, a movie that told us not to watch gay porn and not to study gay history. And this movie telling us not to understand it. So we're being very rebellious these past couple weeks. It begins straight after this with a very imaginative dance sequence, which I assume if you started it, you caught that bit. And this is actually from a local dancer who's kind of a wild attraction at the Nob Hill Theater, who would just get naked and dance in front of people. So it wasn't really, this is really a slice of life, a slice of what you would have seen if you had gone to San Francisco's now defunct Nob Hill Theater in its prime. So it also kind of establishes the movie as being less a film of sex and more a film about sex. And the sex in the movie is almost a means through which to explore the topics of sexuality, of fantasy, of what is real, R-E-A-L, and what is real, R-E-E-L, and what this all means. Well, of course, telling you that there's nothing to learn about what it means. Then you get, just like Night of the Adonis, a slice of the backstage here as they're talking about the movie. They're then setting up this board to show that they are about to screen the movie. And then it's very non-chronological. We're thrown back to the discussion of whether they have the white sheet set up for the first fantasy sequence in the film. They have Paul here, who's going to be their actor for the first segment. They're almost ready. And also, by the way, you might have noticed two Andy Warhols, one of which being a very distracting Mal above Wakefield Pool's head. I mentioned this to you, but this is an original Mal that he got from Andy Warhol. So he's just kind of trying to show that off there. He did end up selling some of his original Andy Warhols for cocaine, but we'll get into that later. it goes straight from them describing what they need for a sequence to the sequence itself, where Paul masturbates to his fantasy, having sex with his sexy, beautiful car. And the audition process, it's worth noting, for this movie was everybody had to record themselves masturbating to their fantasy while explaining what their fantasy is, and those who were most able to captivate the viewer got a role in the movie. So, you know, as it's kind of goofy, he's doing this as you're hearing car engine sounds, and behind him there's this fantasy world, this room with a bed surrounded by these perforated images of what's going on in the mind, like mind versus body, and supposed to give you insight into his head. But then halfway through, his real fantasy becomes real. I don't even know how either are spelt at this point, but yeah, the music is intensifying, and he goes from being on top of a bed to being on top of his car, and comes up with a wide variety of very interesting ways to have penetrative and non-penetrative sex with an automobile. And I think kind of sets the mood for the movie here, and from that we're straight on to the next fantasy, which is might come as a bit of a shock to those who have not watched the movie, but this next sequence is about two brothers where there's this sort of interesting tension going on. One it sets up the other with the lovers and then asks the lovers for details afterwards, without either of them fully understanding, you know, why they're doing that. But Poole understands the sexual tension between them in a way that neither of them do, and they agree to have sex on film, which starts as a you know, a voyeuristic sequence where one is indulging in his leather fantasy with another man while his brother watches. But from there, I'll let Wakefield Poole describe it as he does in his own autobiography. It was simple yet complex in its approach. I wanted to make every cast member's sexual fantasy real. Two of these select cast members were brothers, Rudy and Dutch Garcia. During their interviews, I realized that they both desired each other. When I confronted them, they not only admitted it, but also agreed to make love together for the first time on film for me. At one point, when they start to have sex, the music softens, and under the lyrics of a song written especially for this segment, you have young kids in a playground running and laughing. It is a very tender moment, in Poole's own words. So you really see his absolute lack of any judgment whatsoever when it comes to sex here. I'm sure all of you have your own opinions on this sequence. You know, I think it might be hard to make a moral argument against it, but maybe one more based on its uncouthness would hold more ground. But say what you will about it, it's definitely the first and only time that you will watch two real brothers have sex with each other for the first time on camera. I mean, hopefully. I don't know where your lives will lead all of you after Oberlin, or maybe at Oberlin. But anyway, there is afterwards they talk about how, the next sequence is a bartender who talks to Wakefield Poole at the bar as he's serving him, saying, "I hear you're working on this movie. I'd like to be part of it. Yeah, I'd really be down. And my fantasy is it's a matter of like voyeurism and leather. So you know, you get eyes appearing, and then for some reason the Mao is back. I'm not really sure what that shows, aside from that he has an original Mao. Yeah, this is their own fantasy, which you're fulfilling by watching it. So it's a kind of, you know, interesting interaction with the film there. They want someone to watch them fuck, and you want to watch someone fuck, presumably. But there's a really remarkable tone shift after this to the only interview with somebody that the average audience member by this point is expected to know, Richard Locke. Richard Locke at this point would have been a known gay porn star. People would have seen him at least as many times as you all have. He was in Passing Strangers. He was in El Paso Wrecking Corps as one of the co-leads. And he will be in the penultimate movie of the semester. Next week's movie. Penultimate this weekend, sorry. Yes. So he discusses his life in a way that the audience probably hasn't heard it before, because he's only been they've only seen him in the very erotic, promiscuous nature of being a porn star. But you get to hear about his life and this beautiful house that he has in the desert and how much he appreciates life in the desert. And his sexual fantasy is probably the most wholesome in the movie. I guess aside from the brothers. But his is to have sex with his lover on the roof of his desert home. Then you get this shot, which continues to pursue this goal Poole has of fucking with your conception of the chronology. As Wakefield Poole is talking to the Leather Kink bartender, it zooms further into behind their discussion through the window, where you see 3 cast members at a table and another cast member at the phone. You get a leather sequence, which alternates between them actually wearing leather and them being naked and just imagining leather. You get probably one of the most interesting scenes in the movie after that, because although there's been a hard bar set earlier, where Richard Locke and his lover wake up. They're lying down in bed, and they're kind of like feeling each other, having an intimate moment. And when they're done, they have this little dialogue where they say, "What time is it?" "About 9:45. I have to get up." "What are we going to tell Wakefield? About the movie? I think we should do it. Too bad they weren't here this morning to see us." So the movie this is a movie about the production of the movie, but there's also stuff in this movie that is not in the movie they're discussing making. Another obstacle to prevent you from understanding what you're watching. And the same music, the same song, original song, is here as well as earlier, where the lyrics kind of articulate Wakefield Poole's philosophy of fantasy. He says, "Dreams are calling out to you. Fantasy unending will call your whole life through, and you will hold them close in the palm of your hand. And just be thankful for one thing, my friend, because you're a man. Dreams make you strive all the harder to stay alive for your dreams. Dreams one day disappear, no longer dreams, a reality standing here. Dreams give you back what your life has taken. Dreams fill you up where your souls are vacant." And then it gets very dramatic, torn and burned and shaken down to the bone. But you get the idea of dreams and of fantasy as being what I've kind of been discussing this whole time, which is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And the movie is an exploration of what if we realize these fantasies. And then they do, and they have sex on the roof of their desert house. Some of the most, honestly I'll say the most athletic sex of the entire course, as Henry can attest. Then I know I keep saying this, it's a very interesting movie, and might be the strangest part of it all, is they all meet up. I'm not sure if you could really see it in this lighting here. But there's some very, very interesting lighting, kind of calls back to what he was doing in his earlier movies, like Bijou. You have one strong light on each character, green, red, and blue. And they're in this theater watching the movie that they just made. But as they do, they start to exchange looks, and those looks are intercut with sex scene between the cast members. In this location, and if you compare this to the bathroom orgy in the Adonis, you have a glory hole in here, but the whole place does not look like a bathroom. It looks like a set. And after the orgy is completed, it cuts right back, and the last shot you see of this whole sexual interaction is right back to where we started, where they're all in the theater looking at each other. And this might be an instance of a bit of inspiration he took from, does anybody have the movie on the tip of their tongue?
Chronicle of the Summer.
Sorry?
Chronicle of the Summer, or a different movie? Sorry.
One we watched.
Sorry.
Yeah. Anybody?
Come and see.
What? We generally. Yeah, this is a reference to the massacre of an entire village in Belarus. No, it is a reference to El Paso Wrecking Corps, where they're...
What?
Alright, it's a reference. You're insulting the instructor now?
No.
Okay. Alright. Anyway, it's a reference to El Paso Wrecking Corps, where there's a sequence where two men see each other, one of them being Richard Bloch, funnily enough. Was he? Actually, I don't know. At a gas station, they look at each other, cut to intense, hot sex between them, cut back to them just looking at each other, and that whole moment was just in their heads, but it almost feels real because they shared it. And they go out having that not as a reality, but as a fantasy. And they never actually actualize their dreams of having sex with other cast members, even after they've starred in this movie that actualizes all the other fantasies of their lives. And this seems like a fitting point to end the movie, but it is in fact not where the movie ends, because funnily enough, there is a real sex scene in the projector room. And you can tell it's real because much like the Night at the Adonis, there is a scene of everybody exiting, and the two who are just having sex are late. So they all leave the theater, and then the camera turns around to the camera, and Wakefield Poole gets up and says, "I'm out of film." And then that same dream song plays over the credits, the end. And so I think this finale is illuminating in how similar and how different it is from the final scene in the bathroom orgy in Night at the Adonis. Because in the Night at the Adonis, the bathroom is seen as the positive counterpart to the film screening. It's seen as the place where people go when they're fed up of imagining and want something real. But here, the orgy is the fantasy that they share in the context of the film. And they never actually leave the screening. So it indicates maybe a more favorable view that Wakefield Poole has on fantasy, but unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately for those of you who are getting tired of hearing the word fantasy, that this will be the end of fantasy as a theme in our course, because the next, hopefully 3 movies, we'll see if we can do it, are going to be all about reality. And the last thing I wanted to mention was, what I just did was twice compare 2 scenes in 2 different movies and discuss the cinematic tools that are used to advance the purpose of the specific scene and how they're different, how they're similar. And that will be your final, if you choose to do a written final. I know some of you might have too much work, so I will offer an alternative final, which is I will write a single question, and it all depends on the question. And then you can take that as a in-class exam, but up to you. And yeah, I did get all of your finals, lovely work. But yeah, just for this one, a lot of you won't take another film class, so this is an opportunity to really zoom in and look at cinema the same way you look at literature, and be like, this is why they do a specific thing, and connect it not just to the overall purpose of the film, but to the immediate purpose of the scene, and the intention. It could be just to titillate the audience as much as promote a bigger idea. Does he hand or?
But what do you mean by like write a question for the in-class final?
It's gonna be one surprise question, and if you get it right, you pass.
Like is it like a factual thing, or is it like you write out like a couple paragraphs in response or something?
Short answer
Okay.
response. I won't do multiple choice, but
I see.
it's be slightly open-ended, but worth a little study, I might say, if you were so inclined to take that option. Because I know papers are not for everybody, and also if some of you are like gamblers at heart, this is a great opportunity for you. This Friday we will hopefully watch L.A. Tool and Die, or sorry, that's next week. Wait, is that? Yeah, this week. All right, I'm gonna actually get the order right. This Friday we are watching Forbidden Letters, so definitely do not miss that, because it is arguably the best movie yet in the semester. Absolute cinema. So I hope to see you all for that. And there's going to be a couple. I know that everybody's skipping the readings, but the last reading for the semester is very good. So if you're like, ooh, I'm just going to do one more reading, make that one. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and best of luck with your other classes during this particularly gruesome part of the semester.
Wait, so it's just 2 films, like for if we do the paper for the final, or is it more than 2 films?
2 scenes in 2 different films, compare and contrast.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Cool.